The United Nations General Assembly (UNGA), established in 1945, is the primary policy-making body of the UN with equal representation for all states. It meets annually to address global issues such as peace, climate change, and human rights. Key achievements include the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948 and the Agenda for Sustainable Development 2030. However, challenges like non-binding resolution, geopolitical tension, and resource constraints hinder its effectiveness. India, a founding member, advocates for reforms, equitable representation, climate justice, and counter-terrorism while actively contributing to peacekeeping and global governance. About UNGA. The United Nations General Assembly (UNGA), headquartered in New York City, is the principal policy-making body of the UN, established in 1945 under the UN Charter. It provides a unique platform for multilateral dialogue on a wide range of international issues outlined in the Charter. The UNGA's inaugural session was held on January 10, 1946 with 51 founding member states. Foundation of UNGA. Formed after the League of Nations failure, the UNGA became a key organ of newly created United Nations to promote global peace and cooperation. Aim of UNGA: provide a platform for sovereign equality, allowing all member states to discuss and address global issues collectively. Headquarters: initially made in various locations before establishing its permanent headquarters in New York City in 1951. Expansion of membership. As more nations gained independence, UN membership expanded significantly, reflecting the changing global political landscape. UNGA structure. The structure of the United Nations General Assembly (UNGA) consists of all 193 UN member states, each holding one vote. It convenes annually in September, with additional special sessions scheduled as necessary to address urgent global issues. Presidency. The presidency rotates annually among 5 geographic groups: African, Asian, Eastern European, Latin American and Caribbean, Western European, and others. Observers. The Holy See, Palestine, and other international organizations can participate in sessions but cannot vote. Seating arrangement. Member states are seated alphabetically in the General Assembly Hall, with the first row reserved for heads of state or government. Decision making. Each member has one vote. Important issues such as peace and security, the UN Security Council and the Economic and Social Council, elections and budgetary questions require a two-thirds majority. Other issues are decided by a simple majority. Subsidiary organs. The UN General Assembly has various committees and commissions for research, investigation, and report preparation. General Committee. It includes the UNGA President, 21 Vice President, and chairs of the 6 main committees organizing each session's work. 6 main committees: disarmament and international security, economic and financial, social, humanitarian and cultural, special political and decolonization, administrative and budgetary, legal. Other key bodies. United Nations Disarmament Commission recommends disarmament policies. International Law Commission develops and codifies international law. United Nations Peace Building Commission advises on post-conflict peace building. Human Rights Council promotes and protects human rights globally. UNGA functions and powers. The power and functions of the UNGA include discussing global issues, approving the UN budget, electing members to various bodies, and creating subsidiary organs. It can also convene special sessions, recommend collective peace measures, and ensure equal representation for all member states. Policy making and recommendation. The UNGA discusses global issues like peace, security, and human rights, providing recommendations to address international challenges. Budget approval. The UNGA approves the UN budget and accesses financial contribution from member states to ensure power allocation of resources. Appointment powers. The UNGA elects non-permanent UNSC members, appoints the Secretary General, and elects members to the other UN bodies like the Human Rights Council, ICJ, etc. Subsidiary organs. The UNGA creates subsidiary organs to address specific global issues and report back with detailed findings and actionable recommendations. Consideration of reports. The UNGA reviews reports from the other UN organs and agencies, enabling coordinated and informed responses to global challenges. Special sessions. The UNGA can convene special sessions to address urgent international matters requiring immediate attention and collective action. Collective measures for peace. Under the Uniting for Peace resolution of 1950, the UNGA can take action when the UNSC is paralyzed by a veto from a permanent member, recommending collective measures to restore or maintain international peace and security. Equal representation. Every UNGA member state has one equal vote, ensuring that all nations, big or small, have a vote in global discussions and decision making. UNGA assessment. The United Nations General Assembly plays a vital role in global diplomacy and policy making. Key achievements include the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948 UN Peacekeeping and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. However, challenges like lack of enforcement power, consensus building issues, budget constraint and global division limits its effectiveness. Further reforms focusing on international functioning, alternative funding sources and better cooperation with the Security Council are essential to strengthen its impact. UNGA achievements. UNGA's achievements include the UDHR UN peacekeeping efforts, the Decolonization Declaration, the International Convention Against Apartheid and other as follows. Universal Declaration of Human Rights UDHR. Adopted in 1948, the UDHR sets out the fundamental human rights and dignity of all individuals, laying the foundation for global human rights standards and inspiring over 80 international treaties. UN peacekeeping efforts. Since 1948, UN peacekeepers have been deployed in over 17 missions worldwide to maintain ceasefire, protect civilians, and support peace processes in post-conflict regions, demonstrating the UN's commitment to global security. Decolonization Declaration. This declaration recognizes the right of colonial peoples to self-determination and independence, contributing to the independence of over 80 nations by the end of 20th century. International Convention Against Apartheid. The convention declared apartheid a crime against humanity, providing legal frameworks for international cooperation in dismantling apartheid and promoting racial equality. Millennium Development Goals 2003 goals aimed to reduce extreme poverty, improve education and promote health, resulting in significant progress such as lifting over 1 billion people out of poverty by 2015. Agenda for Sustainable Development 2015. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals outlined in the 2030 Agenda aim to end poverty, protect the planet and promote prosperity, emphasizing sustainable development and global partnership. Treaty banning nuclear weapons 2017. The historic treaty prohibits the development, testing and use of nuclear weapons, reinforcing global efforts towards nuclear disarmament and enhancing international security. Global Compact on Refugees and Migration. The compact addresses large-scale refugee movements and establishes principles for safe, responsible migration. UNGA challenges. The UNGA faces significant challenges that hinder its ability to address global issues effectively. These include geopolitical tensions, resource limitation, consensus building difficulties, and the lack of enforcement power, which often lead to ineffective solutions and fragmentation within the assembly. Geopolitical tension. Rivalries between major powers like the US, Russia, and China create significant obstacles, leading to divisive debates and a lack of consensus on global issues such as peacekeeping and humanitarian aid. Lack of enforcement capacity. The UNGA's resolutions are non-binding, meaning countries are not compelled to comply, which weakens its authority and hinders its ability to ensure adherence to international norms and agreements. Consensus building difficulties. With 193 member states, each holding different priorities, reaching consensus becomes challenging. This often results in watered down resolution that fail to address critical global issues effectively. Resource constraints, limited funding and financial shortfalls affect the UNGA's ability to carry out its programs. This lack of resources leads to delays or insufficient implementation of vital initiatives to address global challenges. Global division, the presence of competing blocs like the G77 non-aligned movement and Western states often causes fragmentation and disunity within the UNGA, making it difficult to forge a unified global response to pressing issues. Lack of independence from member states. The UNGA's priorities are frequently influenced by the national interest of powerful member states, sidelining critical global issues that may not align with their interests or agendas. Lack of cooperation from the Security Council. When the UNSC fails to act due to political deadlocks or vetoes from its permanent members, the UNGA struggles to respond to crises as seen in the case of Syria and Myanmar. Rising global challenges. The UNGA is increasingly confronted with complex issues such as climate change, nuclear proliferation, and public health crises. The fragmented approach to these challenges often result in ineffective solutions. UNGA reforms needed. To improve its effectiveness, the UNGA requires reform in its internal functioning, funding mechanism, legal framework, and cooperation with the UNSC, strengthening accountability, ensuring compliance with these resolutions, and reducing political influence will enhance its credibility and capacity to address global challenges. Reform internal functioning. The UNGA should strengthen accountability through improved monitoring, evaluation, and transparency in decision making to ensure effective open governance. Explore alternative funding mechanism. The UNGA must decrease dependence on member contribution by exploring new funding models to fulfill its mandate effectively. Enhance legal framework. The General Assembly should create legal frameworks to follow up on whether member states comply with past resolution, ensuring accountability. Comprehensive UN reforms. Comprehensive United Nations reforms should promote greater cooperation between the UNSC and UNGA on upholding world peace as well as address uneven regional representation by reviewing and realigning membership distribution. Curb political influence. UNGA must develop certain mechanisms to insulate its decision-making processes from narrow national agendas that will boost its credibility. India and UNGA. India has been a key advocate for multilateralism, equitable representation in the UNGA since its founding in 1945. It has led efforts in decolonization, anti-apartheid, gender equality, and global issues like climate justice and nuclear disarmament. Reforms led by India in collaboration with UNGA are as follows. Decolonization and anti-apartheid efforts. India was a strong supporter of decolonization, co-sponsoring the 1960 Declaration on granting independence to colonial countries and peoples. It also raised the issue of apartheid in 1946, contributing to global anti-apartheid efforts. Leadership in UNGA. In 1953, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit became the first woman president of the UNGA, reflecting India's leadership in promoting gender equality globally. Active participation. India has served on the UN Security Council 8 times and the latest term was in 21-22. India led key debates on maritime security and technology in peacekeeping during its presidency in August 2021. India is bidding for a non-permanent seat on the UNSC for the 28-29 terms. Reforms of UN institutions. India calls for expanded Security Council membership to reflect current geopolitical realities, advocating for permanent membership for countries like India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan. Global counterterrorism strategy. India has pushed for comprehensive convention on international terrorism since 1996, aiming for a unified global response to terrorism. Peacekeeping reform. As a major contributor to peacekeeping, India advocates for improved accountability, and conduct in missions. Climate justice. India takes equitable responsibility for climate change and has launched initiatives like the International Solar Alliance. Nuclear disarmament. India supports global nuclear disarmament while maintaining its policy of minimum deterrence.